Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And today it is Movified Wednesdays, and we are knocking it out of the park again. I got Steven Reed from Big League Movers here out in Memphis. What's up, Steven?
What's going on, Mark? Iron Man, been on the road for 2 weeks, winning awards and whatnot.
Well, that's the way to do it, right?
That's
it's
right.
And now I'm just playing catch up on some sleep, but I'm so excited to kind of be back in the home of Movified, then doing it remotely. You know, it's always nice to have the right lighting and gameplay with the mics and everything else, as opposed to doing it on the road. But it definitely taught me a couple lessons. So I'm happy to kind of be back. And clearly, Brian, this guy is like a lone soldier traveling all the time. We gotta really hone in on him. He's a busy man. So we're hoping he's going to make a little entrance later on, but let's kind of get started. And we really want to touch on something that happens a lot in our industry and I'm going to give you a prime example. Okay. So I have a guy that comes in to the office, talks to the operations manager or dispatcher, at the time, and says, I'm looking for a job. I've been driving for the last 10 years. I worked for this moving company and that moving company. And his Rolodex of professional services and what he can do is right there on the wall. It's like, cool, this sounds fantastic. You sound like an ideal driver. Dispatcher grabs me and says, Mark, do you want to have 5 minutes to interview this guy? Sounds like he'd be a great long distance driver as well too. Sure, sit down with this guy. On paper, in personality, I thought this guy was an amazing fit. Right? My wife tells me all the time, Mark, you're the worst person to hire because you kind of lead with your heart, think that everybody sounds good. In reality, they always kind of shit the bed. So, leave the professional hiring to the professionals. And this was just the case. I said to him, look, this is fantastic. At that time, we kind of just did a once over, a little bit of this is how Salmon's operates. This is what our expectations are. And I wrote down our Rolodex of our expectations and what we want to have fit within our company. Everything matched. It's perfect. You know what? Why don't you start tomorrow? I actually have a job that's coming from our warehouse, so we can kind of keep an eye on you, see how you're packing the truck, put you with these kind of crews, and go from there. Sounds great. Next day comes, doesn't show up. Doesn't even answer the phone call. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What I realized from this experience was our training process is vague, right? We're not doing the proper steps to hire and qualify. Right? We have people that are answering the phones at times, vetting those customers to know, is this person really just going to be that one-star review person? Is this person even worth doing the move for, or is this person needs everything, the packing, the moving, the whole 9 yards, super nice, friendly, already has done their homework and says, I want to go with Salmon's Moving for my move, and they're booked in this way, there's this vetting that kind of goes on a little bit if you're doing it properly to understand which customers you should be setting up for maybe an in-home survey and which ones you can just book over the phone. But when we hire, I find that we just are so quick to being man, I love your personality. Man, you're fantastic. You have this and this and this going for you. And you've come from maybe this van line or another moving company that is a very reputable moving company in your area. And you so fast to hire because we're so fast to want good guys that we forget that, no, wait a second. Would we trust this person in our office? Would we trust this person with our money? Do we trust this person in our clients' homes? Because we're not vetting them enough. We're not actually going through that process. Yeah. And are they a good fit also within our culture? Now, I know that me and you have kind of talked about this. I think we've even brought it up on the show before, but I find that this is still a very important topic when it comes down to hiring, because the winter time's approaching, and I'm the type of person that always says, when winter is coming, it's a great way to filter out who is the person that's going to stand beside you, of the movers, and who are the guys that say, you know what, bud, I'm going to go work somewhere else, or I got to go do something else. So what are your thoughts? I just kind of gave that good ramble intro, but, where have you sat within your experience, Steven, on the hiring process and building out that culture?
Culture is the most important thing, right? More than moving talent, I'd say culture is the most important thing. In that interview, Mark, you setting up that interview and walking through that process and fall in love with that person is a very, very important thing. At our org, at Big League Movers, like a lot of times you are in this interview process, right? And you have so much going on. This customer just reamed you out and a mover just walked off a job, right? And I just came in and I just said, hey, you're not doing your job well. We got to get better at this, right? I put the pressure that is me, that is saying, hey, we got to improve, we got to improve, we got to improve. And you got to take yourself out of that before you walk in that room to have that interview. You gotta, I use the example of shut it down, play Kickstart My Heart. I'm old, I'm 40, right? Play Kickstart My Heart, Motley Crue, and go in there and be excited, because your goal as an interviewer is for them to walk out of there and call their wife, their girlfriend, their mom. Everybody has somebody rooting for us in an interview.
Man,
right?
how many times have us owners, have turned around to interview someone and just been like shuffling paper, hop into the door. Hey man, nice to meet you. Shake quickly hands. What's your name again? Oh yeah. Okay. Flip through like the resume. If you even have a resume. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like this is kind of what our company's about. This is what's going on. And you're like, cool, man. All right. You're hired. We'll let you know. And then that's it.
That guy has no clue you're crazy yet. He'll know you're crazy soon, but he has no clue you're crazy. You just look crazy to him, right?
Totally. Yeah, he ain't phoning his wife. He's going, I might go check out the other moving company next door.
And I think you have to rate yourself. That's what I ask. When that person leaves that door, you have your real answer. Is he calling mom? Is he calling his wife to say, you know what? I think I got it and I have hope. This is going to be cool. I actually talked to the owner and it was awesome. He has a vision. He talked about where he wants to go. And he talked about what he expects from me and what I'm going to do on day one. So I won't be just walking in a warehouse confused. And I'm dependent on Tommy to say, hey, man, you look lost. How can I help you? Right? You're walking them through the warehouse, and then whoever it is, that leader doing that position, but you got to kickstart my heart. I got to remind myself. I was sitting there going, why am I not having the results? And that's where I came up with it, is like, I got to shut down all this and say, I'm a salesman, and I'm selling this guy to buy into my company instead of something else. Right? And he's going to buy into months of his time, or he can do something else. That's a pretty serious decision. You want to sell it, right? And
I think
picky, right?
I think that terminology, and there really needs to be, that playbook made where it's the buy-in, right? We hear that a lot. Like, we need someone to buy into this product. We want someone to buy into the culture. We want someone to buy into that position. They might be the position they think they're going to be in, but like if you're good enough at really engaging with that person and saying like, I think you have this role down pat. I think you're going to be perfect for this role. And they can buy in for what your vision is and follow through with it. Like, it's a win-win scenario. But I sometimes like, let's peel these onion layers back, because it all starts with what that expectation is, right? So like, I don't have a mission statement. I don't have a vision statement. I don't even have acronyms for like a word for my company. Where do I go? What would you say is like a good starting point for someone to go like, I want to have that energy, Steven. I want to be able to walk in there and know exactly what I'm talking about. It's all up in my head, but like, I really don't have anything to go off of. I haven't built this culture. We're only like a 2-man operation. Only got 5 or 6 guys, and half of them are my friends. And, how do I make this separation to say, no, we're a business and this is our culture. This is who we are.
I would challenge yourself to come up with an elevator pitch in general. If you're in that stage and you're struggling to sell what you're wanting to do next, or what differentiates yourself, that's an exercise that I would do. Is just look up an elevator pitch online. It'll give you directions. What they said, it's if you were on an elevator, how would you pitch this person that you would want to work for you? And at the same time, mission and value said, how would you want to sell your company to a customer? So you want that 60-second spiel to get that buy-in. What's your next stage? What are you working for? Right? I want to know who I'm working for, what they're working for, because I am investing my time. If you want to keep that person, realize they're choosing you just as much time as they're choosing whatever else they want to do. And take that seriously. And also have high expectations in that regard. If they smell like weed, don't spend 20 minutes. talking about things. If they smell like weed, just say, brother, you smell like weed. I don't know. I'm sorry if it was somebody else, but it's not what I'm looking for here. No disrespect. Go ahead and cut
Yeah,
out what's
and
going to
cut
be
it
the
out.
next there. Yeah.
Mover Marketing AI is changing the game for moving companies with their innovative digital marketing solutions. I've been working with them on my SEO and website, and the results are incredible. My online presence has improved, making my site both visually appealing and highly visible to potential customers. But that's not all they do. Mover Marketing AI offers a full range of services, from engaging social media management to robust branding, advertising, and public relations. They help you build a strong, trustworthy brand. If you're ready to elevate your moving business, I highly recommend Mover Marketing AI. They've been a game changer for me, and they can be for you too. Thanks to Mover Marketing AI for sponsoring this episode and for their support.
Well, and also your time is valuable too. I feel like if, I've been in situations where they're coming in for an interview, whether it's for a receptionist or someone in the office and everything else, and I usually can know, right? Like as bad as I am at hiring, as my wife says, I
You've been
usually
doing
can
this for a
know.
while.
You can kind of tell whether they're engaged, whether they're interested, whether they're taking notes, right? I mean, I remember when we were looking to hire someone for our customer care team, and we had about 5 or 6 different people. And my office manager was holding these interviews, and I would pop in every once in a while and just see how things are going or do an introduction. And I remember sitting on one after a couple of them, and this lady who now works for us was like taking notes. Like she sat down and she was asking us questions, and she was engaged to understand more about our company, but she also wanted to know really in detail what her position was. Only person out of 5 interviews that actually was like heavily involved in the conversations. And I was like, you better hire her, because she seems like someone that's very detail oriented and that is engaging. Now, there was other ones in that interview process where I was like, man, she's awesome on the phone, or he's like, I think he could kill it. In reality, I don't think we were going to have what they needed to take to do the job efficiently. Yeah, I mean,
you sold it
if
yourself.
you
You sold the good side in them that they saw, and you sold yourself to say, hey, I want to see if this person can reach that same level, and take a sign. That's what I've learned in the interview process. If they're late on the interview, I'm sorry. Like
that's even the worst.
Yeah.
That's like the worst, where like when someone is showing up for an interview and they're already running late, like the writing's on the wall. I don't care if something happened or you were stuck. That just means that you're just going to see more and more excuses on that setup. So I've done the elevator pitch.
That guy that comes in the suit, you'll see me get out of my office, run across the office and say, I got to see what this guy's about. Totally. He takes this very seriously, and I appreciate that, and you'll hear some people
to be a helper, right? To be a helper.
Yeah. I love it. Somebody the guy to come in this serious. Right?
Totally. Yeah. I always get a chuckle out of that one when someone's coming in, they're just trying to be a mover, they're coming in suit and tie, ready to go, and you're like, all right, cool. Like I like it. I think it's.
I do too. I'll beeline to that person, and I'll say, we're growing. Where are we going? Where are you and I going, sir? Let's go.
So one of the new things I learned on my phone, and people listening probably like, Mark, you're so behind the times, but I noticed on my recorder, when you can go on your iPhone, if you have an iPhone and you hit recorder, before you should just be able to record whatever sessions you wanted to. Now, I guess they did an update, and it actually will build you a transcript of that conversation, which I thought was very fascinating, considering it's like a free option. So, I would say to someone, get your elevator pitch down, and then do it in the recorder on your phone. Take that transcript, drop it into ChatGPT, and then ask it to take that transcript and help develop a mission statement, a vision statement, give some better ideas of like, how would I take this and develop this into how I could build my culture, or questions that I could ask or share with someone that I was going to interview. And I think if you can take that, that might be like a great first step, right? Like a second step after
100%. I'll give you one better. I don't know if you've seen the update in ChatGPT. I was just telling Brian Tustin, a shout out, Brian. He just hurt his shoulder, and he's a Ready Rolls client. We were talking about it, and I showed him a feature on Ready Rolls, not Ready Rolls, ChatGPT, where you talk back and forth.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, for sure. You could totally do that as well too.
Yeah, and it
Right?
records everything, and you
yeah.
don't think it's recording everything, but it's transcript and everything, and then you can go
Totally.
back and forth with it.
Yeah.
That's perfect for it. If you don't have to type it, guys, just brainstorm. Hit ChatGPT, hit the button and say, hey, I got some ideas. I want to talk about where I want to go in the next few years, and then ask it to, from that, create an example mission statement, vision statement.
Yeah.
Ask it to ask you some questions, right? I taught myself how to use ChatGPT by asking ChatGPT, here's who I am. How can I use you to help me reach my goals? I didn't need to pay somebody to tell me prompts. I asked the robot, hey, how can you help me? Here's who I am and here's where I'm trying to go. So I'm pretty informed on ChatGPT, but asking questions, I'll ask it things like, ask me questions to make this mission and vision statement better. So it'll ask me things to answer interview style, right? Make it for you. It's not a thing where you have to sit there and type to it. They're making it, I mean, it's getting pretty advanced on there.
For sure. And even once it gives you the answer, you can actually ask it to go deeper for you, right? I want you to even go more deeper into this. And how can you, and then come back with like 10 questions for me to provide you to make this conversation better. So yeah, I think that's a great step. So now I've developed this. I understand now what I kind of am looking for in my interview process. What would be some of the tools that I could use now during this interview process with whoever I'm hiring to kind of not go off base their experience, but how could I base it off of, I want this person in because they resonate with the culture and the belief of my company. Like, what am I looking for?
You're looking at their responses. You're looking at responses of how you talk about your company. What are they appealing to? Are they going through that, talking about themselves? Are they self-learners? In my culture, right? I know I'm a sports guy, right? You see the Oilers shirt on me right now. The Memphis Oilers, not the Houston Oilers or the Nashville Oilers.
Not the Edmonton Oilers.
Not the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, they didn't even think of that same colors, kind of, right?
That's right.
So I don't even know where I was going. I was getting excited about the Oilers. Sports background, right? So sports background, I'm looking for guys, big league movers, right? I'm looking for guys. I know how to coach guys with sports, so I'm looking for guys who set goals, right, somewhere in their life, and I'm telling them how far along did they ever quit. Right. That's what I'm kind of looking for as far as, can they take constructive criticism? Because that's who I am. I'm an improvement junkie. So I'm looking for those things that, can they handle me? Can they handle our culture? And I love the sports background.
Are you asking questions during that interview process of like, what's your future goal? Like, are you not thinking about just what's happening tomorrow, but you're thinking about like, what's going to happen? Like, what is your plan for the next 5 years? Do you see yourself at big league movers? Or do you see yourself somewhere else? Like, are those some of the questions that you'd be asking in an interview?
I'm never imagining they're coming in there to interview with me. I'm never imagining they're seeing themselves at my company in 5 years yet. Now, I'm hoping after that interview they are. Right? So I'm asking them, hey, what are you working for now? What's your why?
Turn your phone on silent. What are you doing?
Sorry. You hear that?
Sure do.
It should be good.
It's not your phone saying you're answering correct questions. It's just your phone going up. This is how busy Mr. Reed is, man. This guy is so busy. Is dinging it. And most of those dings are from his wife.
This is my mother, actually. She's on
perfect.
Yeah. This one was my mother. Sorry.
I know you promised her to be on the show, so she's probably like, all right, I haven't clicked in yet. I haven't be able to sign in. How do I get onto this show?
All right, got it off. This should be the last one.
Are you sure it's off? That was like rapid fire texts coming in. You're throwing so many people off. Boy, what am I going to do with you?
They're looking at their phone.
I know. Everybody's looking at their phones being like, was it me? Was it me?
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah. Okay. So you're not even sometimes thinking about what they're looking for too far down the line. You're actually just asking, you're asking them kind of like, what do you do on your off time? What do you like doing for fun? Are you someone that used to play sports? Or like, are you a bit more disciplined? Like, are you trying to analyze who this person is?
Yeah, who they are. And if they'll fit in with our culture. Guys are picky, right? Hard work, right? If you're applying to be a mover, you are the hardest worker in the room, right?
And we've had conversations about this where we've talked about it, in different scenarios. But you have someone where you find out that maybe they're an only child, Maybe there's someone that never really played sports. Maybe they were just someone that, was really nice, but they weren't doing anything out of the ordinary. And then you look at someone that worked in like a team atmosphere all the time, led a team, played sports in whatever matter, or, was played on teams in school. That type of a big family, lots of brothers, lots of sisters, lots of cousins, whatever the scenario is. And the dynamic, the way they're going to be able to adapt on the back of a truck, the way they're going to be adapting on that team when you have like a large move, whether it's an office move or house move or anything else, is going to play that difference based on what their upbringing was.
Yep. And moving, this isn't a plumbing job, right? Moving, we're in a team. There's not many times where you're going out there by yourself. Like, this is all, like, you're looking for that. That's a key thing. You're looking for a team player. Somebody that tells you they don't work well with others. Well, there's no solo job here, right? So we are all a team. That's why I look for the sports background.
And then and I've had this conversation with P4. So let's run this scenario, because you always like how I break this down. So I'm trying to figure out how to figure out my culture. I've done the elevator pitch. I've done the elevator pitch actually through ChatGPT, and I've had the one-on-one conversation and asked the questions. So I'm really developing some questions, some scenarios, how I'm going to interview this person so that they understand what this company is all about and what my expectations are. I've had the interviews. I'm realizing I'm looking for someone that's very, team focused, someone that has a good personality, someone that understands what the company's all about, someone that wants to grow and build with my vision and what the others are the vision. But before I even do that, I am coming in pumped into this interview. If it's the owner, if it's you that's doing it, if you have someone that is in HR, someone that is managing it, you are saying you're going to this interview like you are the cheerleader of this company and you are ready to rock it, because you need to be excited. You want to show them how exciting it is to work for this company. And they want to walk out of here like they just won the lottery for companies to work for.
My heart just bow, bow, bow. If you don't know, Spotify that after this. You'll see what I'm talking about. The guitar riff just gets you going, right? You're pumped up.
So
you're
now,
jumping in there. You're cheerleading. You're selling it. I love working here, and this is why. And this is what I'm looking to grow. And this is the opportunity we got. You could skyrocket if you're just doing what I'm asking. You can jump right in the front.
So what are you doing day one? This person's got hired, right? They came in on a Thursday or Friday, said, great, you know what? Let's just say they've done the training, they've done whatever. Like, their first day that they're going to start with your company is Monday, right? Whether they're coming in to do training, whether they're coming in to sit in the office or just be on the trucks or anything else. What's a good way to really kickstart that? Like, I'll give you an example. So in my office, when we hire someone that they're in their office, I make sure that they have a shirt, like a company shirt or a hoodie or anything else, nicely folded, sitting on their chair. I make sure they have a company mug, a pen, like a notepad, like all of these things that are deckled for Salmons, and they have a nice little package, right? So they kind of feel warm, like a little welcome note. Thank you so much. Welcome to the team and everything else. And they have something to like take home. Wow, look at this. I got this cool coffee mug that I can use to get my coffee or water bottle or something like that. And that's great if you have the merchandise, if you have that or everything else. But like, what are we doing for movers? Are you tossing them some shirts and everything else on the Thursday or Friday you hired them? Are you waiting to the first day they start before doing that and they're starting training? Like, what's that package look like? Are you giving them like an employee handbook right off the bat? Like, what does Big League do when they're onboarding someone for the first time, on the truck?
I'm saving $1, right? And so I'm not giving them those T-shirts off the bat, knowing the percentage of people that are going to show up on their first day. But I am giving them a colored, nice, glossy leaf trifold. And that trifold is also for everybody at the company to be able to do an interview, right? So they can grab that trifold and remember it has everything that we want to go over, the bonus compensation, how it works, how the same day pay works, right? But we want them going, they're leaving, they're excited. We want them studying something that's going to say what they're going to do on their first day. And on their first day, they're coming in and they do I think it's about a 3-hour class where they're pad wrapping some stuff and they're learning to be a teammate. right? Then we get them to come into the warehouse, and they're going to be a 6-man on a 5-man job, right? They're going to be that person in a big job that gets to understand the feeling, understand how the job works, understand how crews talk back and forth, right? Be the new man where the customer's not upset. And then if we don't run them off from there, right? From there, when they come back, and remember, Mark, we check in everybody and have a conversation with them after the moves. So when they come back, we're asking them right then and there. You don't want to lose people. Ask them how sore they are. Right. We're not, hey, I don't know. When I get on the truck now, if that happens with me, I'm going to be sore as heck the next day. And oftentimes we'll lose people on day 2, right after they've been on the truck, because they just need a break. They just need to hit the Bengay, right? The icy hot. So we kind of go down that process, and then we go in more training they fill out. And then we'll leave them with a team captain for a little while, right? And he'll work with that crew, and they'll get kind of some synergy, and he'll kind of give us progress on that side.
Okay.
I think I went to stage 7 there, but we give the first day when they actually show, we give a couple of T-shirts. And from there, where they have the trade on T-shirts, etc. We give a couple of T-shirts on the day of interview. We give a trifold. And then we just have a bunch of swag from there.
I like the trifold. I like making sure that you have that package. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, just send me the PDF or anything else. And I think having something tangible in your hand that you're going home and saying, I need you to read this. I want you to maybe sign off at the end of it, that you've read it, that you understand everything, and then hand it back again, is also important too, because you want to make sure that in those notes, in those documents, that you've explained everything, that they're not coming back 2-3 weeks later being like, well, you never told me about this and you never told me about that. And you're like, no, it was in the trifold. But like in reality, there was nothing for them to sign. There was nothing for them to like agree on at the end.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
if anybody wants our trifold or a copy of our trifold, I'll send you one. Just hit me up in the DMs. It goes down in the DMs, or comment on.
Go down in the DMs.
Comment on here. We'll make sure we get you a copy on that. But
this holiday season, stand out like never before. Moving Letters AI is here to make your moving company unforgettable with handwritten Christmas cards starting at just $3.99 for your first 100. These aren't just cards, they're a personal touch that builds trust, loyalty, and referrals. With semi-custom designs tailored for movers, you'll leave an impression that lasts long after the holidays are over. So why wait? Let your clients know you care, turn goodwill into your greatest marketing tool, and make this season your most memorable yet. Visit Moving Letters AI today and start delivering that personal touch, handwritten, heartfelt, and unforgettable. Moving Letters AI, where personal touch meets lasting impressions.
Sure.
we got the Simpsons guy, not to offend anybody, and he's wearing our uniform, and we're talking about the bonus package. And, we have the next day pay, and we're talking about what we want in the morning and where to park on there. It's really, really good information because it's everything.
Can I pivot? Can I pivot on this here? Can we talk about this whole next day pay? You've mentioned it a couple of times. So what are we talking about here? Pivot.
Yeah. So our payroll, we use every payroll software, and we have the option. So our employees have the option to either be biweekly, weekly, or daily pay.
Wild. Okay.
And if they're bi-weekly, they have one chance to pay period to cash in everything they've done so far at no percentage fee for anybody, which is really nice. So they're not paying a fee to take their early pay. And so a lot of our guys, they have to switch before the pay period, right? They can't switch during pay period, but a lot of our guys actually end up bi-weekly, and they get the flat tire and they'll cash in and say, hey, I want my check tonight. But you also have guys where you can do weekly, and then you have guys where we can do daily. As an owner, right, with employees, as an owner, it makes me, and it would even hold me accountable if I were smaller doing the payroll. But it makes me know that everybody's doing the hours, and there's not this, we used to have payroll on Monday, right? Mm-hmm. And I would find the operation manager or whoever, be myself or whatever, would just have a pile on Sunday, and I'd call it a payroll party. Right, we've all been there and had payroll parties. Somebody come join and help me. I'm having a great payroll party of closing out jobs, right?
Right.
I find that when I do daily payroll, they have to. my movers are holding them accountable for payroll, right? So we
Sure.
have to close out our jobs. on
What's
that
it
side.
called again?
Every. That's EVEREE. And please let them know I sent you. I don't accept kickbacks for anybody, but if you go there, I do accept nice Christmas gifts and stuff, right? So I tell them I sent you, and also reach out to me. Elaine, our office manager, is happy to help with every stuff, but we have it work with our moving software, and we close it out every day. So it's been nice to us.
Nice. I like that. I think that's great. Do you ever find any issues when guys are getting paid out the next day, as a sense that they're like, great, I got my money, and they're like a no-show?
No, because they're going to run out of money the next day. No, I haven't had that trouble with switching to day pay. The way in COVID, I started doing every meeting, and I know we had a goal of not to go over a certain time on this one, but we started to go over every meeting. I would start, no matter the meeting, it would be me and my bookkeeper right at the time. But we would start off the meeting saying, hey, the purpose of this meeting is to get through our objectives, but also to express any ideas that makes this a better place for our employees. And so people started, and no, I didn't come up with any greater ideas to that, but all of a sudden people started coming up with all these great ideas and being more forefront of how this could be a really cool company. And so we started having challenges of, with COVID, everybody wanted to, there's a lot more, it's a blessing for us, but there's a lot more Monday moves, and there's a lot more Tuesday moves and less Saturday moves. And so our guys would call in on Saturday. They didn't need the work on Saturday, right? And so I started to cash app guys advances if they worked on Saturday, and I saw like the draw. And so I challenged my team and said, hey, if it makes us better, let's find a payroll that does it. And every was something they work with staffing companies, so it makes sense. And they were like, hey, can you work out with our software? We can figure it out. And my software is a moving software, probably pretty popular for your users, and it works hand in hand. We got it going on. So,
Interesting.
nice.
So now the guys have started. We're going to wrap this up into like the final segment. Have the new employees, they got some swag, they got the opening package, they are now on board. What are you doing within the company? And I know we kind of talked about this before, but within the office, within the trucks, how do you maintain that culture? What are you doing to keep them interested?
But you got to look for those opportunity spaces we've talked about, right? Anytime that you can check in with them, them personally from that interview, you see them in the parking lot, ask them what you remember from that interview about his goals, right? Where are you at with those goals? Remind them on where you're at with the goals, because they'll ask you, right? And look for that opportunity space. But the main thing too is broadcast. We work really, really well, especially if you got sports guys like I do. We work really, really well with, hey man, you got my back? What happened? Way more than waving our fingers, right? And so you want to broadcast all the things that these guys should know. Use your opportunities. We used to use a hotline for all the guys to schedule. I don't think we do that any longer. We used to use a hotline, but before everybody would hear their name, if they're on and what time in the morning, it was the hotline tip of the week. Right. And they'd have to listen to a long spiel written thing of Steve and wheel chalks or whatever the hot topic was. But it allowed us to manage and come on, man, what's going on? Instead of like, what in the world are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? Yada, yada. It started to go, you know better than that, man. What's up with that? And that's a lot easier to manage. So the broadcasting is very important of your policies. They say like put it on a wall and all those things, and that's corny and you roll your eyes, but really do, because somebody's staring at it. And it is your policies, your rules, and things that bother you with you. Just make a list. Hey, again, reach out to me. I'll share my hotline tips of the week. I think I have a note in my Apple phone from a few years ago, but broadcast all your rules and keep everybody, because nobody wants to do a bad job, especially if you had that interview and did well. People fall into habits where they do a bad job and they don't realize it, but nobody wants to do a bad job.
Totally true. When we look at having a company, we never think about those that are already looking for other jobs. What would you say to people that, have good staff and then they turn around and they go, oh, this person just got accepted at another job. Like they turn around and said, oh yeah, well, I'm taking this other job. I'm putting my 2 weeks in, and they were like a fantastic employee. They were. Is there some type of reflection? Like, like a management meeting? Like, what do you look at when these people are leaving your company and you're now going, what do we do wrong? What happened?
Yeah, I always look at an employee when they leave and I get that notice. I grade myself and I say day one that this employee came to me, and I do the whole flashed in time, the quantum, how did this happen, and see this person in time in our relationship. And it's a time to reflect on myself as my job, and what my purpose is to make people better as we grow in the organization. So that's where I really, really grade myself. And if they're not better, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, years, I'm really evaluating if I'm setting the bar for what I want in my organization. Right. And so I do that as a self-reflection, me do a time lapse on where they've been. And I'm hardest on myself of that is like, hey, how much did they advance? Did I do my job well? And it makes it a little easier. Maybe that's some way to make it less crazy for us in moving and being owners when people leave us. I always look at it like we're on a journey and I'm the driver of the boat and I know where I'm going. I know where the boat stops. I know where I'm turning in all the gold that I'm gathering with this team. And there's people that get on the boat ride, right? And they're going in the same direction. That doesn't mean they need to go to where I'm landing, right? It doesn't need to go to where I'm my final destination. But if we're going along the long way and they decide, hey, it's my time to get off the boat, that doesn't make them bad. I'm thankful for what they brought to me on the journey and what I learned, and I hope they take that away. And oftentimes, if you end it that way, they come back when they're ready to go back in that same direction a little bit later, and they went out there and learned it, and they come back and they want it more because they know what was different. And I've had a lot of people that have gotten off my boat and then said, man, I really want to get back on that boat. Let's continue to go forward. And that's been a blessing because when they come back, there's nothing more efficient than that. And so that makes me sane. I don't know. I've had a lot of, times where people have left and I didn't understand why. And I'm always looking at it like, it's not a bad person. They're just going a different direction. And that's kind of helped me. And maybe that'll help other moving company owners kind of see it when they have this person that's leaving your organization that was huge and was fundamental to where you're going. A way to look at it and not go crazy and move forward. So hopefully that helps. It's always the way I've talked to myself every time and say that.
Yeah, I think it's important to have that kind of mentality. I've been in many situations where, over the years and being in this industry for so long, where you really just stop and you want to reflect on going like, what did I do wrong? What did we as a company do wrong? How can we make it better? And that level of insanity of just repeating the same problem over and over again. That's where I feel like that's where a massive reflection as an owner has to be taking place. If you're having people quit over the same problem or the same reason, that is when you have a problem within your organization and within yourself. So, and I think having the ability now for the massive outreach, to have these Facebook groups, to have the opportunity to like DM you, message me, talk to anybody, that's been in the industry for a long time, always feel free. Right? No question is a bad question. No question is the wrong question. We've all been there. You think you haven't been in there? There's somebody that has already. So, don't worry about it. Keep running out that boat. And like you said, there's surprises that are along the way that someone's just going to want to jump back on that boat and says, man, I see where this boat's going. So like, I just want to ride it. I had to take a small break, but I'm back on.
Yeah. There's a lot of people on the boat that were there on day one and they weren't there on year 9. But they're back in year 12, right? And what they went and learned from whatever job they had was very valuable when they came back.
Was year 9 that year that you decided not to wear a shirt the entire year? And that people were just like, they're out.
When
they're out. They were like, Steven, okay, I get it. You're doing well. But like year 9, you just wear shorts, no t-shirt, walking around the office, even on a cold day. We just can't. We can't have it.
Hey, if you are a high operation manager and people, this is where it hurt me. I had talent and I was doing something well, And FedEx was just ripping them. FedEx is here in Memphis. And FedEx was saying, you know what? They got something going on. We got a honey hole here. Let's start, getting them. And you can take some pride in some guys leaving, right? Use that as like, hey, now use it as like a sports recruiter. Look at what I just pumped up to the FedEx here. If you're at a certain size and can't compete with them, right? You're the next.
That's such a nice mentality. That's such a nice way to think about it. I've never thought about that one. Yeah. I always think it's always nice when I've seen guys turn around and they go, I'm going to start my own, because they've learned a lot of the aspects of business and everything else from me. So I always appreciate that as well. Hey, listen, this was great. I think
if you're listening to me and you started your own from me, I don't appreciate that. And we're going at it every day.
We're going at it every day. I was trying to be nice, but yeah, I was trying so hard to be nice. Yeah, but if you're in Memphis, you're doing your own thing and you used for Steven, like you better be deleting this. Just at least give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Okay, this is awesome. Let's wrap this up. It's another episode of Movified Wednesdays with myself, Mark Hirschi, and Steven Reed. And unfortunately, Brian Slater, he's here in spirit, and we are going to now just power text him and call him, telling him that you missed out. So until next time, everybody. I know. Until next time, stay Movified, everybody, and catch us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And message us for more. Thanks, guys.
Run it.
Let's go. All right. Have a good one.